Hi everyone, this is Ariana from Captain of the Hooks, and I'm here with a left-handed tutorial for a foundation chain and a single crochet. So if you're a beginner, you're going to want to get a medium weight yarn, and you are also going to want a 5mm hook. I find that 5mm is kind of the easiest to begin with, and I really like the Clover brand. So that's what I use. And then you are also going to need a pair of craft scissors. So if you've never worked with yarn before, you're going to find that there are two ways to pull the string. So there's either an outside string, and this unravels from the outside of the skein. Some people find this easier to work with. And the other way is a center pull. So this string comes straight from the center of the skein. This is the way that I prefer to use and the way that we will use throughout this tutorial. So the first thing I'm going to go over is how to hold the yarn. This is typically the most difficult part of learning how to crochet, is just learning how to hold the yarn in your hands, how it feels comfortable, and how you can work the yarn and the crochet hook together. So for the foundation chain beginning, you're going to wrap around your finger, your left finger, and make an X. I usually find it helpful to put my thumb there to hold the X in place. Then you pull the yarn on top through the center, and you pull that tight. This is called a slip knot, and this is what you're going to insert your hook into. So let's try that again. Around, make an X on your finger, put your thumb there to hold it, take it off and put the top inside, and pull it through tight into a slip knot. Let's do this one more time, and then we're going to put our hook on. So let's make an X, put your thumb, pull it off, flip the top yarn inside, and pull up. Now we're going to insert our hook through the slip knot. After your hook is inserted into the slip knot, you're going to want to pull the end of the string that is still attached to the skein, but not too tight. You want to still be able to maneuver it around the hook. So this is how I hold the string, how I get started with it, wrapped around my index finger. And this allows me to hold the knot with my fingers and my thumb. After you find a grip that's comfortable, you're going to turn your hook over and grab that string and pull it through that slip knot that you made. And that is what your first chain is going to look like. So let's do that again. We have the slip knot. We're going to insert our hook. Again, tighten to where it feels comfortable on the hook. You're going to wrap your yarn around in a whatever's comfortable for you. People hold their yarn many different ways. This is just what works for me. And wrap your hook around the yarn and pull through for your first chain. That process, learning how to hold it and make your first chain, is kind of the hardest part of this whole tutorial, so feel free to pause it and rewind and play it over as many times as you need to get the hang of it. From here, we just yarn over, which means put your hook under the yarn, and we're going to pull it through. And at this point, if you're comfortable with this, you can keep pulling through as many times as you want, and this forms your foundation chain. Whenever you need to throughout your project, you can always let go and readjust your hand. As long as your yarn is attached to your hook, you're not going to lose any progress that you've made through your foundation chain. So we're going to continue creating our foundation chain. I want to end up with 11 for this tutorial. And here we need to pull more yarn from the center of the skein. All right, let's count our stitches. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now we're going to add one more. And from this point here, we have a foundation chain of 11 chains. And this is important because we're going to go back and start a row of single crochets. And to do that, we need one extra chain to make a row of 10 single crochets. Because we need some room on the side, we are going to skip the first chain and go into the second chain from the hook. So we skipped one and straight into the second chain. Again, we're going to skip the first one and go into the second chain. From here, we're going to yarn over, pull the yarn through, and now we're going to yarn over again and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook. This forms a single crochet. So let's walk through that one more time. We're going to skip the first one and go into the second chain, yarn over, pull through the first chain. We're going to yarn over again and pull through both loops on the hook. Again, this makes a single crochet. So now we're going to go on to the next chain from our foundation chain. We're going to go through the top chain right there, and we're going to pull up a loop. And then we're going to pull our yarn through both loops. This makes your second single crochet. We're going to go into the third loop. Again, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. You've now completed 3 single crochets. All right, and we are going to continue this process until we reach the last chain on our foundation chain, and then we should have 10 single crochets on our hook. All right, and as we are finishing up the last single crochets on our foundation chain, we should end up with 10 single crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, at this point, we need to work on the next level up. And so to do that, we are going to chain 1, which is just a yarn over and pull through, as you would in a foundation chain. This is called a chain 1. And at this point, we're going to turn our work to the other side because we always want to be working from left to right. Since we are left-handed, we always want to be working from left to right. So in order to do that, we're going to flip our work around and do the exact same thing that we did before, only now we are working on the back side of our work. So now that we've completed a row of single crochet, there are going to be 2 strands of yarn on the top that we want to put our hook through this time. So we're going to insert our hook and yarn over, pull the loop up, yarn over, and pull through both, just like we did on the row before, and this makes your first second row single crochet. Then in the next V, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over. Let's see right there, that's what we call the V. It's the top of the single crochet, or the top of any stitch really. We're going to yarn over and pull through. Most stitches are going to have that V or heart shape on top, and you want to make sure that you are inserting your hook through both of those strands of yarn on the top of the stitch unless the pattern states otherwise. So we're going to insert through both again, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through both. And we're going to continue the second row of single crochets until you have 10 single crochets on the second row. You can also see from the side of your work right there, that little hole is where you're inserting your hook. So from the top you can see the V and the heart shape, and from the side you can see a little hole where you're supposed to be inserting your hook through. Right here I'm going to stop and count my stitches. I know I need to have 10 single crochets on this row, so I want to count how many I have done and how many I have left to do. It's always important to double count your stitches, and some people, especially starting out, I really recommend using stitch markers. They can help you keep track of the beginning and the ends of your row so that you have straight edges. Okay, we're coming up on the end of this row. We're going to yarn over, pull through both loops, and again, there you go, 10 stitches. And we're going to do the same thing we did last time. We are going to yarn over and pull up a loop to chain one, and this will add the height to the side of our project. And we're again going to turn our work to the other side, so we are always working left to right. And starting with that first V right there, we are again going to insert our hook, yarn over, and pull through both those loops on the hook. And that is your first single crochet for your third row. And again, we are going to keep doing this through the whole third row and get 10 single crochets. At any point in this video, please feel free to pause, to slow down the speed, or to rewind, just to repeat what we've gone over, because this is the foundation of crocheting and it is the hardest part to learn. So when you're moving your hook, you want to move it with your hand, just like that. You want to kind of roll it with your fingers. Makes it a lot easier to maneuver. Sometimes people move their wrist in crochet, and that, if you're crocheting a lot, it hurts your wrist after a while, so you want to start learning just by rolling the crochet hook through your fingers. Makes it much easier. All right, we have reached the end of our third row. And again, let's double count our stitches. Okay, and to start on our next row, we're again going to chain one. And we are going to turn our work so that we are working from the left to right once again. And as I've said before, at any point in your project, if you need to adjust how you are holding your yarn, please feel free to do so. Again, this is a learning experience. It's going to take a while to get used to holding both the yarn and the hook and working them together. So feel free to readjust and use the yarn and the hook however feels most comfortable for you. All right, so we are going to finish up the last single crochet on the fourth row. So this is a foundation chain of 11 chains and 4 rows of single crochets. Now, if we were to continue this, we would chain one and turn our work and continue working from left to right. But I'm going to stop right here. And so to end your work, what you're going to do is pretty similar. You are going to first of all, cut a long tail. Tail is what we call the end of the string that we're going to weave in with a needle later. So we're going to cut that at a couple inches. And then like we would yarn over and pull through for a chain, we're going to yarn over and pull all the way through. And at this point, we take the tail and we pull it tight, and that is how you finish off your work. So congratulations, I hope you are an expert in your foundation chains and your single crochets now. If there's anything else that you think should be included in this tutorial, please let me know. And any other stitches you would like to see, please leave me a comment and let me know what else you would like to learn. Take care and happy hooking!